Firstly, congratulations on your exhibition in New York, your first of many to come solo exhibitions. Talk to us about the work, Camagu. Firstly, the title and what brought that about.
Yes. Well, you know, Camagu was a fitting title because I have been in the industry and I grew up, I've been supported by my family, my community, the gift I have from my ancestors and God Kamata, that is. So the title is to acknowledge and say thank you and it's a gratitude to everyone who took part and helped me to be where I am today. So that exhibition basically was to say that this is a highlight in my career, that the world have seen what I do, that to allow me a platform in New York and represent Africa in this one gallery, and that's what is amazing. So I had to say Camagu.
Let's talk about your influences. You mentioned the work on the continent. What actually influences the kind of work that you do?
My work represents a lot of my my heritage, cultural experiences, and my immediate background. I mean, experiences. So you will find a lot of different elements, like the border scarification motif Ukachula, which is inspired by my cultural background. So you will find such elements, but at the same time that it's an African artifacts. So when you're looking at my work, is that you can see the references as to my experiences, my heritage, but also it can be anywhere in the world. That's that kind of stuff.
Ukachula is?
Kachula being the border scarification, so these are tribal markings. In my case, it's used for healing purposes or for protecting one into evil spirits or bad omens. But in other tribes and other clans, it would be clan identification or marking one's rite of passage. So that is somehow like a dying culture or a practice. So in my work, what I'm doing is documenting it and making it permanent for the younger generation, for the generation to come to learn and know, and for other tribes to understand what is that about.
That is so fascinating, because we're always talking about documenting our history and writing it down, but there's so many other forms in which we can capture and document our history. Let's talk about perhaps continental collaborations, and are we expecting to see more of that from you working with other artists all over the continent?
Most definitely, because you know, it always started home, you know. So we best tell our own stories. I mean, I did some work with Laduma Ngogolo at some stage because of the similar background and talking about our heritage and documenting it and sharing it and making sure that we all are aware of who we are. I've got some work that will be coming up. This is probably in the next year, where I'll be going to Mali, working with Abu Bakr Fofana. He's an indigo master. Now, this is will be an amazing process, because one will have to spend time there in conversation and learning and exchanging with each other, and then come up with a body of work that is represented by both of us. You
deal with different elements when making the art: water, sand, fire. In terms of all of that, it must also be sort of a spiritual journey in making these pieces. It's not just about making beautiful pieces and exhibiting them. There must be some therapeutic element to it.
By all means, because, you know, where all of this comes from, it's a gift, it's a calling, right? In realization that this is a calling whereby my ancestors or God gave me this gift, somehow, then my ability to be able to translate all of the vision that I have from Izifele, that is the spirit, my ancestors, transferring it into the clay, which allows me now. Clay, this is earth, this is Mother Earth, that grounds you, that gives you all of this. For me to be able to breathe life into these objects, and then you, as a viewer, you get your message through that. And this is spiritual. I mean, for me, I then process all of these things, and then I get them into this object, and then I learn and I grow, and then I somehow find healing myself, but also the viewer themselves.
If we go back to when this started, I mean, we've all played with clay, but we never thought, you know, you can actually come to this point.
It's, yeah, I mean, I think how I managed to get into it. Yes, I grew up in the villages, this is my village, playing with clay, you know, like any other boy, you know, before me and with me at the time, but we never had the technology and understanding that you can fire it and make it permanent. But I've always drew, right, like doodling. Again, not knowing that is an art. But then when I then got to college, that is when I was introduced to clay and graphic design and drawing. Then for me it was a natural choice, clay, because it reminded me of my childhood. And then from there I never looked back, because when I said, if I can draw it, then I can make it.
If you can draw it, you can make it.
Correct.
Your word of advice or encouragement to someone whose talent or art is not mainstream, right? So
yes,
it's not what
totally.
we are always used to.
Yeah. For me, I mean, like from the parents themselves, our community, our society, is that if you see your child, I mean, now this has nothing to do with art, but you see your child passionate about something, to support them, guide them towards that, give them all the resources and the guidance in order for them to realize who they are, because they can be anything. Like we say that to our kids. We say, you know what, if you think you can fly an aeroplane, if you think you can, you know, go to space, you can, you know, just expose them to that. And for me, just do what you love, what you're passionate about, and just enjoy it. If you do not enjoy it, stop. Right now, just stop. Find something that brings joy to you, something that heals you, something that will make people remember you for the rest when you've been gone. That's what you must do.
Hey, in this world where we're constantly chasing money, I guess the passion to some degree falls to the wayside, but that's important as well.
Very, very important, because for me, I think what I've done so far, and again, say Tamagu, is that I do what I love, and everything else just comes. Because when you do what you love, the positive energy that you feel at that point, then yourself, you're going to be attracting the same, you know, the right people. There's no way that your ancestors or Kamata of God will give you the gift and not give you the tools and the guidance and the protection in order for you to have the right tools and the people to move you forward, for you to succeed. That's what the passion is about.